searching for the true treasure, finding that treasure, and taking all the effort to get that treasure. It's beautiful little parables, so meaningful. And in the first reading, we see Solomon found that treasure as the power to know and to have the wisdom and understanding to rule the people according to the will of God. I'm going to give you the homework this week to reflect what is our treasure, the true treasure, and how do we see our faith, our relationship with God. Let's keep reflecting. And today, every year we have someone coming here for mission appeal from different parts of the world to seek our help, and at the same time to help us to increase in our awareness as missionaries. So today we have here Sister Lisa Valentini, MSc, from the Missionary Sisters of the Sacred Heart. Sister comes from Pennsylvania, Reading, and she works as a missionary in Colombia. So let us listen to her. Let's welcome her.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? I'm your missionary of the year. Nobody else is coming. So I am very, very happy, grateful to be assigned here to Holy Family Parish in South Pasadena. And really, one of the reasons is because you are great friends to a friend of mine who is Father Tom Hagen. And I didn't know that until yesterday. Cambria, she brought me over and she said, oh, we have a connection to Haiti. I don't know if you know Father Tom Hagen. I have been working with Father Tom Hagen for more than 30 years. We've been friends, and I've been going to Haiti for all of that time. So I said last night to the people, if he knew I was here, he would say hello. So I'm saying hello on his part, and I sent him an email and told him I'm here. So I'm sure he'll respond back. So I'm so happy. And so I am here today. Now, I know that you are used to the mission appeal. Okay, so every year somebody comes, a priest, a sister, a layperson, sometimes someone you don't understand one word they say, I know, okay? But they called me this time. I am from Pennsylvania, so you'll understand it all, I hope. I grew up in a small town called Tamaqua. Did you ever hear of it? Yeah, I thought not. Nothing ever happens there, okay? But when I was growing up in Tamaqua, Pennsylvania, I grew up Catholic. I'm one of 6 children. I have a brother, and I have 4 younger sisters. And you caught my name, Valentini. I'm Italian. The other half of me is Murphy. Yeah, look out, okay? So growing up, though, I never thought about becoming a sister. I really thought I would get married and have 20 kids. Yeah, I think God laughed too. And so, but then there was this moment, and like most of my high school years, I spent looking for the father of my children. You know, I would pray for the guys who I wanted to date. Oh God, could I please go out with Louis? I did. He was weird, but it was, you know, what are you gonna do? Okay. But then I met a wonderful young man, and so we started talking about marriage, and I told him about the 20 kids, and everything was good. And then there was a nun. You got to watch out for those nuns. I'm just telling you flat out. And really, I was walking down the hall minding my own business. Usually I'm minding everybody else's business, but I was walking down the hall, and she stops me and she says, what about you? And my gentle Italian-Irish self said, what about me? And she said, did you ever think about being a sister? And I said, no, I didn't. And I never had, that's the truth, until she said it. And then, you know, sometimes you listen to the radio and a song gets stuck in your head, and all day long you're humming that song, you're singing that song. But in the day you're thinking, I hate that song. Let it go, let it go. Oh my gosh, let it go. Okay, anyway, it wasn't a song that was stuck in my head. It was this thought about being a sister. And the truth is, I never got to the point of thinking like, oh, I want to be a sister. I didn't think that. But I kept thinking I didn't want to let God down. And then the other thing I kept thinking was, if this is what God wants, I bet it's going to be cool. And I didn't want to miss it. Well, guess what? On September 8th, which is just a couple of weeks away, it will be 40 years since I left my parents' home. And I'm happy to tell you, way cool. And the coolest part is this mission stuff. Like, so when I joined the convent, okay, I'm now a missionary sister of the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus. But when I joined the convent, I didn't join them. I joined the sisters I knew. They were called Sisters Servants of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. They're a group out of Philadelphia. And I joined them because I knew them. I didn't know there were bunches. Do you know there's bunches of nuns? Like lots of them. Okay, so I didn't know that. So I joined them. And all I wanted to do was teach first grade. And so I'm left-handed. They said, you can't teach first grade. You're left-handed. Like, really? That's discriminate. Anyway, I was teaching second grade. And I was preparing a class in religion. And it said in our book that in our world today there are over 1 billion people who have not yet heard the name Jesus Christ. And I'm like, what? And especially knowing that on the ascension, Jesus said, go out to the ends of the earth and tell the good news, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son. My brothers and sisters, that gospel mandate, that Christ-centered mandate, it's to all of us. And so I'm like going, man, that was given almost 2,000 years ago, and the job is still not done. There's something wrong with that. That treasure that Father preached about, that he proclaimed to us so beautifully, that pearl of great price, they don't even know about it. So I'm like, somebody has to tell them. Somebody has to. I could tell them, I'm a nun. So the next time they ask for volunteers for the missions, I raise my hand. And you know, in the Catholic Church, if you raise your hand, they pick you. And if it's for the carnival committee, it's for life, okay? But anyway, and I have to say this, I wasn't their first choice. They actually called another sister before they called me, and they said, we were thinking that you would be a good missionary to Peru. And sister's response was, do I have to? And they said, no, you don't. And I have to tell you, I'm so grateful because her no got to be my yes. And it changed my life. So I go to Peru, and when I was studying to be a sister, the sisters who were already stationed in Peru and Chile, they would stop on the way back and talk to us young sisters, and they would tell us these stories. By the second story, I'd be crying like a girl. I mean, really, it was very touching that these women who were normal, who were from New Jersey and Pennsylvania, that they were giving up their family, their country, their life, so that people would know where to come. Like, my brothers and sisters, do you understand that every single one of us is here because of the mission work of the church? Because there were men and women who came out and who spread the good news to our great-grandparents and our grandparents and our parents. And our parents were the missionaries who passed it on to us. And you are the missionaries who are passing it on to your children. At the beginning of Mass, a little boy was crying. I think he didn't like church too much. But his mom still brings them. Way to go! That's the job. It's to make sure that the good news continues to be proclaimed. That we know where to come. That we know that at this table we will be nourished. That we hear that God so loved the world that he sent his only Son for you, for us, and for them. And so, when I went, I fell in love, not with some guy, relax, okay, but with the whole missionary work of the church. It was just amazing to me. And so for 5 years, there I am in Peru, and I'm having a great time. And then after 5 years, they sent me, a letter, and it says, by holy obedience. You know about the vows of the nuns, right? We take 3 vows. Poverty, it's really not a big deal. We just try not to have too much stuff. Chastity, okay, that is a big deal, and I'm not going to talk about it. Okay? And then the third vow we take is obedience. You got my name. It's Valentini. The other half of me is, I'm like, really? I hate obedience. I don't want anybody telling me what to do. But that's what they get to do. And so by holy obedience, I was called home to Pennsylvania. And it's not that I didn't like Pennsylvania. It's just that I felt called to something else. And so it was then that I realized that God had called me to be a full-time missionary. So I became a free agent and traded. If the ball players can do it, so can the nuns. And so I actually was given a great job. I started working with the Pontifical Mission Societies. That's just for your information. The Mission Appeal, okay? Every year we are assigned not by the Archdiocese. Now, Archbishop Gomez, he gives us permission to come. But really, the Mission Appeal comes through the Mission Office, which is the office of the Pontifical Mission Societies. So literally, I'm here on behalf of Pope Francis, which is kind of cool. Isn't he cool? He's so amazing. We have such a great Pope. And he keeps saying to us, go out, go out, go out. So it's not a new message. He's just telling us what Jesus said. Go out to the ends of the earth. Come here, be nourished and fed, but then get it out there. And so the Mission Appeal is about that. But honestly, it's not so much saying to you to go to Peru or Mexico or Haiti or Dominican. It's about you being witnesses here in South Pasadena, California. My brothers and sisters, there are so many people, your next door neighbors, people down the street, sometimes people in our own families who have forgotten the message, who don't realize that the pearl of great price is right here for them. And so you are called to give witness, not so much by your words, but by the way you live, by the way you love. But then the Mission Appeal says, okay, so let's get it here and let's get it there, because there's two ways of being missionary. One is to give by going. That's me, I'm going. But the other is to go by giving. And so what the Mission Appeal says is, why don't we do this together? So for this year, Holy Family Parish, South Pasadena, and the Missionary Sisters of the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, we're a team. It's just for 1 year. And how it works is that there is, first of all, a collection, okay? Now, you might always think like the Mission Appeal is about, it's not about the, all right, it's a little bit about the collection, but not so much. But what you give, and this is important that you know, the envelopes are there in the pews. They're these yellow envelopes. But honestly, even though it says Archdiocese, it's not going to them. Relax. What they put in here, it comes to us. And the Missionary Sisters of the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, we were founded in the year 1900. We were founded specifically to be missionaries. We were founded by a missionary. We're a boy-girl, we don't live together, relax, okay? All right, but the Missionaries of the Sacred Heart in the 1880s were asked by Pope Leo XIII to be the evangelizers in the South Sea Islands, Papua New Guinea, the Marshall Islands, and Solomon Islands. So they went, and when they realized that there had been very little done of spreading the good news, they wanted nuns to come and start schools. And so even though they were founded in France and they had some sisters in France, they wanted to invite them, but those islands were all protectorates of Germany, and so they weren't allowed to bring them in. And so Father Lincoln said, what should I do? And Father Founder said, get some German girls. And so he put a sign up on the wall, and it said, are there any young women who would be willing to leave your family, your home, your country, so that others can come to know Jesus Christ? And the girls said yes. Now I want you to know, this morning I was talking to one of our altar servers. I imagine you can guess which one, because I asked her if she ever thought about being a nun, Katie. And Katie went like, I didn't get the answer. She didn't say yes or no. I think she was afraid that I was going to ask her, like, really, do you want to sign up? We don't sign up. But the thing is, our world is in need of young people. I'm going to ask you guys especially. We have a full church here. I want you to think right now about all the young people you know. I want you to think if there's a young man or a young woman who just kind of stands out, somebody who has a gift, a grace, somebody who's really kind or loving, someone who you think would make a good priest or a good sister. And I'd like to challenge you. Tell them. Tell them there was a crazy nun at Mass today who said, think about who would make a good priest or a sister, and you thought about them. They might be like, oh, don't. Okay, who cares what they think? We don't care, okay? It is about planting the seed. If that sister would have never said to me, what about you? I don't think I'd be standing here today. And I thank God every day that she did. Because if I had to pick a life of anybody I know, I'd pick mine. You would probably pick mine too. So that first thing, generosity in the first collection. The second thing we ask you is for your prayers. If you picked up a bulletin, you'll see my picture on it. And I'm holding a little girl. That little girl, her name is Julady. Julady is 4 years old. Julady is the daughter of a young man who has been a part of my life. I went to the Dominican Republic in the year 2000, and I continue to take young people on mission immersion trips. I just came home on the 4th of July. I've been taking young people on these trips for about 20 years. On the 4th of July, I came home from trip number 50. I know there's something wrong with me. Trust me, I know. Okay, but it is so amazing to see what these young people do. And I have to tell you, I'm very proud because I just found out I have 3 priests. 3 young men who came with me on mission trips are now priests. And 2 of the girls are sisters. Now, it's not good odds, really, it's not. But at least there's something happening. Their hearts become stirred. And they know that the good news is in them. And so that little girl, Julady, her father, he was in the youth group, he was in the choir, and now he's married and has this little girl. And she has some lung problems. And in fact, she is in the hospital as we speak. Well, actually, she was in the hospital until yesterday because Chow had to take his daughter out of the hospital because he couldn't afford, even though he has a job and even though he has health care, he couldn't pay for another day for her to be in the hospital. I don't know what to do about stuff like that, but I can tell you something neat that happened. Chow and his wife and his daughter were living in a house made of corrugated tin in a tropical climate. It was like living in a microwave. But there's a priest who has been working with me for the past 12 years. He's come year after year after year. We started out in a university. He was a chaplain in a university, and the kids started coming. Then when he became a parish priest, the young people from the parish started coming, and then the older people from the parish started coming. So this year when he came and saw Chow's house, he's a very, very sensitive man. He said, "Lisa, he can't live like that." I said, "I know, but I can't fix it." His own Father Dan's father died about 2 years ago and left him some inheritance. And from his own inheritance and from some people in the parish, he got some money together, and now Chow lives in a house with his wife and his daughter for the first time in a house that has indoor plumbing. When they were living in the house made of corrugated tin, his little girl would say, "Papi, I don't want to go home. Our house doesn't have a floor." The floor was dirt. But now when you go to her house, she says, "Look at our floor." But they need help. And so I am so blessed because people like you are generous to us. And not too long ago, Chow called me. He was crying. Imagine a 27-year-old man crying. And he said, "Lisa, I need to get some medicine for my daughter, and I don't have the money." So after I stay with the groups, I'm able to leave with the priest there a donation for emergencies. And I said, "Go to Father Christian and tell him to give you the money for the medicine." And so that little girl's alive because of people like you, because you help us to be the hands and the heart of Christ. Our motto as missionaries of the Sacred Heart is to be the heart of God in the world. And so today, I'm saying to you, okay, come on, let's do this. There are 800 of us now working in 22 countries throughout the world. And so everything that we do during this coming year, we're going to be doing it together. So what does that mean? That means that you will be a part of the work of our sisters in the Dominican Republic, where we have a school for special needs kids. Kids who used to be locked up in their homes now come to school and they have a life. I had the privilege of preparing their parents for the first communion of those children. You should have seen the tears on that day. Tears of joy. Tears of knowing that they've brought their kids to Jesus. And trust me, their kids have brought them to Jesus too. We have undercover nuns in China. And we have some young women who are desiring to be sisters with us. They are studying to be sisters so that they can go back to China and announce the good news where it has not been heard. We have in Mexico a home, a posada, a homeless shelter for elderly women It was started because of Rosa. She was 99 years old and she was on the street. She is no longer. There are now 11 women living in that posada. And they not only have a home, but they have a place where they are loved. And so I stand before you saying, okay, let's do this. Let's do it together. So the third thing is to live your mission. Because like right now, our sisters are praying for you. They know that I am here at Holy Family Parish, and they will keep you in prayer for this whole year. So now, please pray for us. So what? So that we can do what God is asking us to do, so that we're not afraid, so that on the lonely days, we make it through. So that on days when we're not home and we hear word from home that our family members are not doing so well, that we can give it up to God, knowing that He will take care. And the third thing is for you to live your mission right here, starting with your husband, your wife, your children, your neighbors, your friends, your relatives. Be signs of this loving God by the way you live, by the way you love. There's a song, it's not a Catholic song, but I think it should be like the official mission song. Y'all know it, it goes like this. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, His love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. So, my brothers and sisters, let us go and be love in the name of our risen Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I, for my part, I'd like to make you an offer you shouldn't refuse. I am Valentini, after all. In December, I will be going back to Dominican Republic. I will be going back with a group of young people from Kutztown University. It'll be trip number 51. I'd like to take you not in the plane, relax. I'm going to take you right here. And what I'm going to offer is that every child I hold, every hug I give, every spoonful of food I serve, every word of God I speak, I will be doing it in the name of the people of Holy Family Parish in South Pasadena, California. And I thank you for that privilege, for the great privilege of being your missionary of the year. God bless you.